Hello, dear students. Children, for class 12th, I started the explanation of the chapter on the face of it, and I have introduced both the characters of the chapter to you. I told you that it is a play, not a story, and I told you the difference of the two. In this play, there are just two characters who are very important. One is Mr. Lamb, who is Lemmy, and other is a boy whose name is Derek. Mr. Lim and Derek has some similarities and some dissimilarities. Similarity is that both of them are physically handicapped, and the dissimilarity is they have a different perspective towards the life, towards the thought. They differ into their age. Mr. Lim is an old man, whereas Derek is a young boy who's just around 13 years old. Derek is very much frustrated from the society's outlook. He's annoyed that people does not behave with him, does not behave well with him. You know why? Because he has a burn mark over his face. Acid burn mark on half of his face. That is why the name of the chapter resembles and correlated that on the face of it. Due to that acid burn mark, people even calls him ugly. He has no friends, no relatives around him, no society members who are there for him to talk to him, to share his views, ideas, whereas people even does not want to see his face. They give such gestures that it makes him clear that people are not interested talking to him, looking at him, which makes him feel very much annoyed. Now, when he is very much disturbed and disappointed by the society, so he thinks that he need to make a different world for him, a world which is without friends, without society, without surroundings, where he could easily live alone. And luckily, he's found such a place, and that is the garden of Mr. Lem. Because whenever he has seen that garden, he found that it is empty, nobody is there. It's a well maintained, beautiful, big garden. It's a huge garden with a cottage inside. So he decides to live into that. And he one day jumped the wall of the garden without looking at the thought that the door was already open. The moment he jumped in thinking that it is empty, he'll be all alone inside, suddenly he heard a sound from inside, and it was the voice of Mr. Lem, who was asking that please mind the apples, because so many crab apples were on the ground. He wanted that the person who has jumped in should not spoil them. But Derek felt as if the men, he was quite surprised that there is somebody inside. And the other thought which came to his mind that the men must be thinking he was a thief who has entered in the garden. So he quickly explained and said, I have not come to take the apples here. He said, don't worry, don't be afraid, come in. The moment Mr. Lem said that don't be afraid, Derek again gave in response and said that I am not afraid of anybody. In fact, people are afraid of me. Lem was smiling inside, thinking that it is a voice of a young child, and why the child is saying that people are afraid of him. He immediately came out and he saw that the boy with the burned mark, acid burn mark. And the moment he saw him, it was not very difficult for him to understand that why the boy has given that statement and what does he wanted to say by it. With his experience, with his own problems which he was facing, because he's also lame. People tease him. Even the children around, they say him, lemmy lamb, lemmy lamb. And he's always suffering through this because he has one tin leg. One of his leg was blown off into a war. So he could understand the pain of Derek. But Derek do not know this, and that is why when Mr. Lem came and he started talking to Derek about his garden, that because he has maintained a beautiful garden, he grow fruits into it, different flowers into it, and he just wanted him to mind apples because he make toffees and jellies out of jams out of these fruits. Suddenly, Derek thought that this man is not reacting at all over his face. He's not saying anything. He's neither talking about his looks, nor is he talking about his face. So he said that I know why you are not talking to me, why you are quiet, because you do not want to ask me that why do I have this burn mark. You are also afraid and you want to avoid me. But then Mr. Lem, just to understand the feeling of the child, he said that no, I am not at all afraid. But if you are so much interested that I should know that why you have got this burned face, I'll ask you. And he told him that this is an acid burn mark, and that acid has not spoiled my face, it has ate my life, which has a very deep meaning and even shows that how deep the child was hurt by the rude feelings of the society, how he was afraid of his loneliness, and how he was overwhelmed with the emotions that people calls him ugly. It was not so difficult for Mr. Lem to understand all his feelings. And then and there, Mr. Lem decided to bring some change into the boy by making him to think a bit positive. And he straight away said to him that Derek, though he do not know his name, I am just calling his name to make you understand that we are talking about Derek. He said that you look into the corner of the garden, there far off, and what are you able to see? And Derek quickly responded and said that, oh, there, nothing. It's all weeds, useless, nothing. But then Mr. Lem suddenly said that no, it is not so. There in that garden, I am able to see greenery. I am able to see such unwanted plants which grow themselves. I need not to work on them, but they still add to the beauty of my garden by being green. And this how he said that, everything is beautiful. It depends completely on us that how do we see and observe that thing. How do we feel that thing is important for us? Not only this, he started giving him some other examples also, whereas Derek again and again responding and saying that it is easier to say but very difficult for understanding that we do have such kind of thought and we suffer. And now in my next video, I am going to explain you that how through his examples, through his own experiences, through his own sufferings and outcomes, Mr. Lem will going to give few changes to Derek, and let us understand that what will be the effect of those changes in the life of Derek. Will he be able to change or not? This I'm going to explain you into my video. Thank you, children.